here with a new Sims 4 speed build video. So as you guys have seen in the title and the thumbnail, today I'm going to be telling you guys how I'm using The Sims 4 to help me manifest my perfect starter home in real life, and how I think you guys can do it too, or for similar wants and or needs. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. First things first, if you guys don't know what the concept of manifesting is or how you do it, then this video is probably going to be very confusing and somewhat boring, which I very much want to avoid. So in order to do so, this first section of the video is going to be all about how you can manifest / everything I've learned about manifestation. So manifesting is the idea that through the power of belief, we can effectively think a goal into becoming reality, according to Psychology Today. Essentially, what this means is that you can use manifestation to attract whatever you want, whether that's money, good looks, a partner, etc. A lot of people in the manifestation community have even been able to manifest major events, such as winning the lottery, quite literally, like I'm not even joking here, and even their soulmate within 30 days. Some people have been able to instantly manifest major events, such as getting enough money to pay a particular bill, or someone messaging them and confessing their feelings for them at the start of their manifestation journey. Which, if you think about it, is actually really cool, because I think about starting off on something that you're not really sure is going to work, but that you really want to, and just being like, oh, I just want to manifest like meeting my soulmate within like 30 days or something, and then actually getting that, or manifesting something smaller and thinking like, well, I have this bill that like I really need to get paid, so I'm just gonna manifest that like somehow I come across some money and I get to pay that bill, and then actually getting it like really instantaneously. Like that just must be so cool, and just thinking about it is honestly kind of hyping me up and making me like super ecstatic, and just knowing that people have gotten this for themselves before just makes me like so happy for them, because it's such a cool idea. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that's great, but I've never done it, then think again. A lot of people, in fact probably everyone at one point or another, have actually manifested something that they wanted. It may not have been something major like the things that I listed above, but it might have been something small like a parking space closer to the door of the building you were going into, or even just getting some cash back on a purchase that you made. Sometimes it's even something as small as not being late to an appointment you were sure that you wouldn't be able to get to in time, but something fell into place just in the nick of time and you made it there, maybe just barely. Perhaps it was just a coincidence, but the more likely answer is that you had the thought that you wanted that thing, let's say the parking space, and you briefly saw it in your mind's eye, kind of visualized you getting there and parking in that perfect spot, and then forgot that you had that thought until I just mentioned it. And that, my friends, is manifestation. So this is where things are probably going to get a little bit confusing at first, but just hold on, I promise it's going to make some sense soon. Basically, this goes back to the manifesting tip that almost everyone shares with you when you start watching how to manifest videos, which is to visualize. Normally, people recommend something like a vision board with pictures of things similar to or of what you want. I personally do have some vision boards just as a reminder of what I'm striving towards, and also because, in my personal opinion, they're very aesthetic and they're very pretty. What I'm suggesting today, though, is that you use something a little bit more real to visualize. That being The Sims, specifically The Sims 4, as that is a more real-life accurate game, and there are more CC and mods available for this version than previous games. I have a few reasons for this, my first one being that I love The Sims, and I think it's really fun to combine the two ideas together as another excuse to play it. My second one is that it fits really well within the Sims franchise to use it for manifestation rather than another game like perhaps Enzoy, because that is becoming very popular among the Simmer community. If you've ever heard of the Sim selves in The Sims, then you know what I'm talking about. Making yourself in The Sims and playing with them is kind of a rite of passage, and if you've played The Sims, then you've definitely done it, and there's no shame in admitting it. If you're a big enough fan, you've probably even done it in every version of The Sims, or at least all the versions you have available, and that's totally okay. We've all played Castaways and done a little what if. Another thing that Simmers have made popular is playing a challenge that's basically a dream life challenge. Claire Siobhan was the first person that I saw do this, and she continued it for a really long time, and it was really her first ever Sims 4 series that she ever played. Another great example of someone playing a dream life series in The Sims 4 is Deligracy. She has an entire playlist of videos for the series called the Let's Play My Dream Life, and both series were a blast to watch, and I highly recommend them. So that brings me to my third and final point for why The Sims 4 is perfect for manifestation, specifically the visualization part, which is that a lot of people have actually kind of used it for manifesting already. Tons of Simmers use The Sims 4 to build their dream house, or as close as possible at least, and then they later end up moving into a house strikingly similar to it. I have also seen a lot of people play The Sims 4 before and say that they're going to use it to manifest, or that they're going to do their dream life and just do a couple of episodes on it, and then it does turn out a little bit later down the line that they start getting things that they did mention in those videos. Which is why when I was doom scrolling on one of my favorite house shopping websites, and I stumbled upon a really cute little house that was giving kind of like starter house energy, I just knew that I had to build it in The Sims and move my Sim self into it. I'm not really sure why, to be honest, but something about it just spoke to me in that moment, and I knew I absolutely had to build it. From there, I birthed this entire idea of manifesting using The Sims 4 as a visualization tool, and honestly, I think it's going to work out quite nicely. But I guess to really let you know, I will have to do an update a little bit later. Now that we're done talking about using The Sims to visualize, let's talk about the house that I'm actually building today. The original that I saw online and was using as an inspiration picture is a newly renovated house that was originally built in 2001 and renovated again in 2019. It is a 3-bedroom and 1-bathroom home with a 1-car garage that is separate from the house but is still insulated, and honestly the sizing sounds perfect for me because I do need some spare bedroom space. That way I can have like a separate office, but I don't necessarily need multiple bathrooms. I don't show making the bedrooms in the footage because I wanted to really focus on the living areas, but trust that there is an office space and the bedroom is done with a lot of tastefully done purple accents. The outside is a little bit bland, if I'm being completely honest, because it has like grayish colored siding, and it is featuring a large front porch, which is nice, as well as a small back porch that goes into the fenced-in yard. Technically, in real life though, the fenced-in backyard is actually done with a chain link fence, but I wanted it to be wood in The Sims so that it would look a little bit nicer, and let's be honest, if I was actually living here, I would definitely have that be one of my first changes to the property, because I'm just not a chain link girly. I prefer to have a nice wood fence, but that's probably just the Simmer in me. I didn't honestly take that many artistic liberties when I recreated the home, other than the changes that I made if I would have it, like the furniture and the like, and a few things that I couldn't replicate in The Sims, like the color of the wood floors and the quote, custom built walk-in shower. I guess I technically could have tried a little more to recreate the shower, but I honestly love the way it turned out in The Sims, and I think a few minor differences is probably fine. One of the main things I couldn't replicate in the house though was the laundry closet in the kitchen, because you guys know Sims, and if I had tried to add it, then there would have been a ton of issues with the layout and the sizing. They really have to give us half tiles someday, right? But anyhow, you guys can probably guess what the laundry closet looks like. It's just one of those basic ones. It kind of looks like it just has room for the like washer and dryer and maybe like a cabinet above both of them, and then that's basically it. And to be completely honest, I don't love how the stove fits around the closet in real life, so that would probably have to be changed if I did manifest this house, because I really don't like how squishy it is with the oven and like the doors of the laundry closet. And honestly, I'm not really sure why in real life they did that, because since the house was renovated in 2019, and it sounds like from the description it was completely renovated, so I'm like, so why did you choose to put the oven in that weird little corner right by the doors to the laundry closet? Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but that is something that I would definitely change if I got the house, because I just don't think I could live with it that way for long. I want to upload this house to the gallery at some point, once I finalize a few details later, like the furniture selection especially, so I didn't use CC in this build for that reason, so some of the furniture in the house isn't completely accurate to what I would personally choose, but I think you guys will get the overall gist of what I'm trying to go for with like the vibes and stuff. I tried to sneak in a few details here and there, like some supplies for pets and things to make the house seem a little bit more like I actually had it. So if you guys noticed a bed and some bowls around the house, then that's why. Honestly, during the course of this speed build, I realized just how few nicely colored swatches of couches we have in the game, not to mention how uncomfortable they all look. There's also very little purple swatched items in the game's catalog as well, which is a serious bummer as someone who plays a lot of legacy challenges that have colored themed generations, because I need a lot of purple items and I honestly don't have that many options. Like, seriously, why aren't there any nice lavender couches or plush looking pillows with pretty designs on them? There are honestly very few pretty geometric designs for anything in The Sims 4, and honestly I find that a major bummer as well because I love getting nice patterned designs in there, and honestly there's just no options for it. Like, have the modders taught EA nothing? Apparently so, because the only base game pillows EA have added so far look like they need a new bag of filling, and the color options are just as bad as the base game couches, which, if you know what I'm talking about, they're pretty terrible. I understand why we can't have a color wheel because of the lag that it would probably add to the game, but the least they could do is give us swatch updates to give us more options on the things that we do have. Speaking of options, I also couldn't find any good curtains, and you guys know I put curtains in all of my builds to make them look more finished and also a little bit more lived in, so this house was no exception, but since I was making it as a manifestation house for myself, I really wanted it to suit my personal taste, and honestly none of them did. I ended up going with a base game set just because they fit the windows the best, and they also matched with the curtains that I put in the kitchen, but I honestly would never use them in real life. I spent a lot of time researching aesthetics for fashion and home decoration, but I have yet to find the perfect term for what my style of home decorating is. But French country seems to be a fairly close match though when I research it online, and honestly the French country catalog decor in The Sims is extremely lacking as well. So that really wasn't making things any easier for me when I was trying to pick out furniture. So honestly a lot of the furniture that you see in this build isn't necessarily my exact taste, but I do think that it suited the build well, and it looked kind of cute with some of the color options that I had to work with. And obviously, like I said, I was trying to recreate the home as closely as possible to what I saw on the house website that I found it on, to make it look more like the original house IRL, and honestly I think I did pretty good on it. Like I said, there were a few things that I just couldn't replicate, and a few things that I just didn't try to, like with the flooring. I also think I could have done better with the tile in the bathroom, because the tile in the bathroom really isn't like a split tiling. It's not like a nice plaster and then a tile like the growing together one that I used. It's more of like an all white tile, I'm pretty sure, behind the shower, and then like a plain plaster everywhere else. But I honestly couldn't find anything super duper close to it in The Sims, and I didn't really want to try, if I'm being honest, just because some of the tiles that they were using were kind of low-key ugly in the actual house, and I figured not only would I change that if I had this house as a starter home, but I also think that in this starter home in The Sims, it would definitely look a lot better if I didn't use that. So it isn't necessarily completely accurate to the house itself on the website, but it also isn't completely accurate to what I would do if I had full range of freedom with it either. Although I will say that with the landscaping, I did allow myself a little bit more freedom, because the house IRL doesn't really have like a whole lot of shrubbery outside, and I know myself I would definitely change that right away if I had this house, because starter home or not, you need a lot of shrubbery, and I honestly think it would be really cute if it had a lot of lavender and like some form of like a hydrangea outside. So I added quite a bit of flowers outside of the starter home in The Sims, because if there's one thing you can count on me changing, it's the fact that this house has absolutely no greenery outside. Another kind of small change that I would probably make to this house if I had it is the concrete porch I know that a lot of people have concrete porches, but I'm just not a big fan of how plain this particular concrete porch is in the inspiration picture. And honestly, I'm also just not a big fan of concrete porches as a whole. I prefer mine to be wood. I do understand that since this particular porch is level with the ground around it, that maybe wood isn't the best option necessarily, especially visually since it has a concrete path leading up to it. But I'm not gonna lie, I just am not the biggest fan of concrete porches as a whole, so that is another little change that I would definitely make if this was my starter home. As this video draws to a close, I also want to mention that if you guys want me to do a sim self refresh and start a starter Dream Life series to continue the manifestation process, then leave a comment down below. On your way to comment, don't forget to like and subscribe for future videos, and also because it really helps out my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!